it's Reagan and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be chatting through my February TBR. I won't lie, I'm really looking forward to my TBR this month. I have romance that I'm looking forward to reading, and I also have a few sci-fi novels which I'm really looking forward to. Reading more sci-fi is a goal of mine this year, so again, just trying to ensure that my TBRs will allow for that success. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive right into the books I hope to read this month. First two books I'm going to chat about are the two romance books I hope to read. The first one is Take a Hint, Dani Brown by Talia Hibbert. Talia Hibbert also wrote Get a Life, Chloe Brown, which I read last year and loved so much. And this particular story is a companion, and we actually follow Chloe's sister, Dani. Get a Life, Chloe Brown was more of a hate to love situation, and this tale, I believe, is a more friendship to love, like friends with benefits situation. I've literally only heard incredible things about this particular novel, and I already know I love Talia Hibbert's writing, because Get a Life, Chloe Brown was honestly the perfect mix of cute and steamy that I just feel like this is the perfect novel to pick up. This follows our main character, Dani Brown, who knows what she wants in life: academic renown and professional success, and an occasional roll in the hay when she can find it. And in general, she would say she's not really interested in having a prolonged romantic relationship. She's really focused on herself and her own professional goals. So naturally, she asked the universe for the perfect friends with benefits situation. Someone who knows the score, their way around the bedroom, but also knows when to be scarce. So when she meets big and brooding security guard at her university library, Zephyr, during a fire drill gone wrong, she feels like the universe has answered her prayers. So I feel like this is going to be full of fun, hijinks, romance, friendship. Again, I feel like I'm just gonna love this. I love Talia Hibbert's humor, and I love the banter she creates between her two characters. I'm so looking forward to picking this up this month. So this is definitely on the TBR. Next book that's on my romance part of my TBR for the month is The Kiss Quotient by Helen Huang. This is an own voices romance story that I've honestly heard literally nothing but amazing things about, but I decided to pick it up because I recently saw Chanel post about it on her Instagram, and she said it's one of her favorite romances, so I thought, gotta give it a try. This basically follows our main character, Stella, who has always been exceptionally good at math. Particularly, she's very good at coming up with algorithms that can predict customer purchases, and due to this, she has made a lot of money in her career, but also because of her Asperger's, she is a bit of a workaholic and hasn't really made a lot of time for dating. So she has decided to do the only logical thing, which is to generate a rubric and hire an escort to teach her the ins and outs of everything that she feels like she needs to know before venturing out into the dating world again. Now enter Michael Fand, who is a really attractive male escort who's going to teach her all of these things, and naturally, as push comes to shove, they fall in love. Here, this is super funny with a really cute kind of romance at its center with lots of pining. Obviously, it's going to also be very steamy, but all in all, this was really calling out to me, and I'm looking forward to this. I feel like I'm going to fly through this one. The next two books on my TBR are books I picked up for the Blackathon. I'm gonna post Jessie's announcement video down below. They have put in so much work, and their video is incredibly informative. There are so many different activities, both on YouTube and Instagram, that you can participate in. There's also different genre teams as well. I'm personally joining Team Sci-Fi Fantasy. So if you're interested in a readathon for this month, definitely check their video out down below. There's also so many different members in the community participating as hosts, and I definitely wanted to participate, so I picked up two books for it. The first one is actually the group book for the Sci-Fi Fantasy team, and that is The Lesson by Cadwell Turnbull. This is set in a world where an alien ship has rested over the water islands for the past 5 years, and the residents of the US Virgin Islands have lived with the Yana, a race of super advanced aliens who have come on a research mission that they have not disclosed. They are benevolent in many ways. They also appear to meet any act of aggression with a disproportionate amount of wrath. This obviously has led to a very strained relationship with the local individuals of these islands with this alien species. And the year after the death of a young boy on the islands, this relationship continues to be very strained and kind of pulls three different families kind of at the center of this conflict. And in general, I would say I have not read a lot of alien-focused sci-fi, particularly this interaction between aliens and humans on Earth. So that as a plot element is really calling out to me. I feel like this is going to be very much a page turner, and one that will just absolutely keep me guessing and captivated. I've heard excellent things about this. Again, it's the group book for the Sci-Fi Fantasy team. So definitely reading this month. Then the second book I picked up for the readathon is Parable of Sower by Octavia E. Butler, and I picked this to align with the spirituality prompt, but I already really wanted to read this book this month. Ever since I picked it up last month, it's just been eyeing me from my bookshelf. I've literally heard nothing but incredible things about this, and I'm hoping to actually pick up a few books by this author throughout this year. But this is a dystopian sci-fi story. It's set on Earth after a climate disaster of the 2020s. We follow our main character Lauren, who lives with her family in kind of an isolated gated community in California. And our main character Lauren actually suffers from something called hyperempathy, which allows her to feel other emotions at an extreme level. But in a society that basically views any vulnerability as a risk to not only yourself, but everyone around you, she has to hide this. However, it also says that Lauren must use this power to protect her and her loved ones from immediate disaster. And it also says what begins as a fight for survival soon leads to something much more, a birth of a new faith and a startling vision of human destiny. Again, this just has been calling my name. I feel like it's going to blow my mind. So yeah, this is the other book I hope to read during that week as well. The next book on my TBR is Raybearer by Jordan A. Fueco. And this honestly just sounds like a YA fantasy novel that is right up my alley. I cannot wait to read this. The tagline of this is what really sold me. What if you were sworn to protect the one you were born to destroy? Uh-oh, Sputskettios. This follows our main character Tarsai, who's always longed for warmth and family. Unfortunately, she has been raised in isolation by an often distant mother called the Lady. She has been raised with the sole purpose to basically train, to travel to the capital, to partake in a competition, to become one of the Crown Prince's 11, which is a group of individuals most sworn to protect and help the prince. However, when she makes it on the 11, she's now supposed to kill him. In this story, I believe we follow our main character as she grapples with the choice of not feeling like someone else's pawn, and if she's able to create a new path for herself and a new destiny. Again, I just personally love the setup of the story. I hope it has trials and this sort of ultimate decision between doing what you were raised for or ultimately following your own path really intrigues me. And in general, this like, will I kill him or will I save him plotline is one that I just personally love. So I'm definitely reading this as well. Next up, I have a book that was on my top books I want to read in 2021. So I'm really trying to make sure I knock off as many of those in the early part of this year as I can. And that is Akata Warrior by Nanendia Korafor. This is the sequel to Akata Witch, which I read last year and loved so much. Akata Witch basically follows our main character Sunny, who in the first one basically has just moved back to Nigeria with her family. Sunny is having a hard time fitting in at her new school, and she also longs to spend her time playing soccer outside with her brothers. Unfortunately, Sunny has albinism, so this sort of prevents her from spending too much time in the sun. The first novel, she actually discovers that she has latent magical abilities and is actually a part of the leopard people, which is a magical society that exists in Sunny's world. And in the first one, she basically befriends two other children in the area, and together they learn about their magic, they go to classes together, they explore the magical towns together, and they also ultimately are kind of fated to go on a quest together to save the world. This has like a very classic central villain, a central very dark mystery that's ultimately very much centered in friendship and trust and just kind of like learning about one's own power. I loved the first one so much. I felt like it perfectly walked kind of like a YA middle grade line. It was imaginative and super transportive, and the magic just like seeped out of its pages. I love like a magical school setting, and this definitely had that. I'm really looking forward to see where the story kind of takes off. The first one ended quite explosively, and I'm excited to watch our main character Sunny as she begins to learn more and more about magic, kind of grow more in their friendship, and likely ultimately face another hurdle and adventure throughout this second one. Yeah, Akata Witch, exceptional. I've heard nothing but good things about Akata Warriors, so this is one that I feel like I'm going to fly through. Next book on my TBR is actually a collection of short stories, and that is The Office of Historical Correction by Danielle Evans. This is actually a book I plan to kind of slowly read throughout the month, given that it's a short story collection, so just kind of reading a story probably like every other day. And in this collection of short stories, Danielle Evans is said to bring her blisteringly smart voice and x-ray vision to the topics of race and US history, and is said to consider why some people confront history while others try to outrun it. Evans portrays characters who are experiencing the universal confusion of lust and love and getting walloped by sorrow, all while exploring how history haunts us, personally and collectively. Ultimately, she provokes us to think about the truths of US history and about who gets to tell them and the costs of setting the record straight. I personally used to read a lot more short story collections, and it's something in general I'm trying to get back into, story of my life, but this one felt really apt. And in general, the topic of revisionist history is one I've personally been really interested in, confronting how much bias is present in a lot of the history that we're taught. And in general, I'm trying to pick up more works that make me confront what I know and understand history to be. So I'm really looking forward to reading this throughout the month of February. The last two books I hope to read this month, I'm just going to briefly mention, even though they're so hefty. The first one is Way of Kings. I have about 260 pages of this book left, so I want to wrap that up at the beginning of this month. And then I'll have, you know, finished the first book of this reread, and then I'm just gonna immediately jump into Words of Radiance, book 2 to the Stormlight Archive, and obviously try to read as much as I can throughout the month. I'm not sure I'll be able to finish the entirety of this novel in February, but if I can just make a solid way through it, I will be proud of myself. And then, you know, I'll just continue slowly making my way through this. This is like my big fantasy goal for the first half of this year. Yeah, this is a reread I feel like I have to complete before I can move on to continuing some of my other really long series, or even starting a new really long fantasy world. So this is on the top of my list, one, because I'm loving it, but I'm just trying to stay focused and prioritizing it until I get to the fourth book, which I want to know what happens next. I need to be involved with the rest of the Stormlight Archives people. So yeah, Way of Kings and starting Words of Radiance. Alright guys, that is my February TBR. Please let me know down below some books you hope to read for the month of February, as I would love to know, and I will see you guys soon with another video soon. Goodbye!